Good morning. I know it's been a little while since I've made any new videos, so this morning while I was sitting at the gym and the massage table, I figured I'd make a video and talk about some stuff that's going on. So I find myself jobless again. I got let go from my last job, or I should say they went a different direction. That's what they told me. It's starting to kind of hurt my pride, I guess, a little bit. I know I don't do anything wrong, and I know I'm good at my job. But being let go from jobs with the same answers, they're not telling me that that there's something I need to improve. They're just saying something stupid like going a different direction. Whatever that means. I got one of my other coworkers that I used to work with seems to think it's because I'm overly transparent. And I voice my opinions on what I feel is right and not right. And I don't feel like being a counselor is a place to upsell. This isn't fucking McDonald's. I'm not going to ask somebody if they want to supersize it or tell them they need more treatment if they don't. Force somebody to try and make a decision to stay if they want to leave. If they want to come to our clinical but not our housing, that's not my job. It's not why I got into this fucking business. So, change. Right now is change in my life. Yesterday was my daughter's 3rd birthday, so we had, her and I are a week apart, so I turn 42 next week. So we share a birthday party every year. We did a big unicorn cake this year, whatever. Change. Watching how quickly she changes at this age is incredible. She's such a sweet, sweet little innocent girl, and then 10 minutes later, she changes. And then she changes back. But she's adorable. Being transparent in my communication is something that I really push with people. There's a book called Shift Talk, and it's about business, and it always talks about one of the big things in there is to ask why 5 times. Well, I don't feel like I want to be talking to a fucking 5-year-old that says why after every question. My thought on that is, when we're talking to somebody, answer why 5 times. Especially in recovery, it works really well, because if you've got a family that doesn't trust you because you've hurt them so many times, you've promised them so many things, you've stole from them, you've whatever, been emotionally abusive, all that stuff. When you answer why 5 times, even 3 times before somebody asks, it's going to do a couple of different things. One of the biggest things that it's going to do is build trust. What happens a lot of times is we'll get into recovery, we get clean, start working out relationships, especially with our family members, our spouse, whatever. They want to know answers to things, old things especially. And if they ask a bunch of questions, most of us addicts get defensive right away and feel like we're being interrogated. And we don't usually communicate very well that way. So if I answer why before they ask me, I don't feel like I'm being interrogated, and they feel like I'm being honest. It builds trust quicker. It gets them the opportunity to get to know me better, right? Because if I just answer a question, I don't tell you what I feel, I just answer the question. So if I tell you what I feel along with the answer, why I feel that way, where it comes from, I'm giving that person an opportunity to understand me as a person. So why that's so important to me is I feel the same way with my employers. I'm going to give them more of an answer than they probably want and explain to them why I feel that way. And then if they still want to do something different, I'll do what they ask me to do. But I definitely do believe in having communication and being able to talk. I struggle with that in my personal life sometimes, mostly just with my wife and my kids, because I don't find it as easy to talk to them as I do other people. And maybe it's because there's some attachment stuff there, codependency, I don't know. I know if I say the wrong things and something were to happen and she gets mad, we have a fight, then I start going into crisis mode of like, they're going to leave, I'm not going to have my family, all this stuff. So I think that could be part of it for me, and I've been trying to work on that. But when I don't have those emotional connections like that, I'm really good at communicating. So being let go from jobs, it does start to make me question if I'm necessary, if I'm good at what I do, even though I know I am. So I'm coming up on 10 years clean. I put in an application as a probation officer a few months ago. It took me almost 10 years to be in a place where I would feel comfortable even just applying for a job like that. Many of you that know my past, like, that's completely the opposite direction of where I always was. So I filled out the application, filled out the forms, all this stuff. You could have offered me a CFO position at a big company before, and I would have turned it down just because it said officer in the title, even though it doesn't have anything to do with any kind of officers. So to get to where I could apply as a probation officer was big for me. But I applied not even knowing if I wanted to take the job. It was more for personal growth. I went on a ride-along. I really enjoyed the ride-along. It's not like I pictured it to be. The people are pretty compassionate, and they work off of what's called a restorative justice model. After I went on a ride-along, I started watching some of the relationships that my clients at the treatment center have with their probation officers. And the probation officers that were actually like really cool with their people, they made a huge difference in the amount of effort that person puts into their treatment. So I watched one guy that I know pretty close to, and his probation officer over the last year and a half has got him into about 6 different treatment centers. Now this guy really does want to be clean, and he gets clean, does a really good job, and he just hits a wall and he relapses. But he's not afraid to call his probation officer and tell her, and she goes out of her way to help him out. Seeing that was odd to me because that's not what I envisioned. The ride-along showed me that they're not like I thought at all. It really is about helping people. There's boundaries, and if those boundaries get crossed, there's going to be times that people are going to have to go to jail for a couple of days or whatever, or get, whatever. But they know those things up front. It's not like it's a surprise. So at that point, that's the part that I would have trouble with. But I have to look at it like at that point, that was their decision. They knew the boundaries, they knew the repercussions, and they chose to do it anyway. That's not on me, that's on them. But I got offered a job. First they turned me down because there were some other guys that I interviewed against that had already had previous experience in probation department. They put me on a list where they could hire me if something came up in the next 6 months without any interviews, and they called me a week later. So I got offered a job as long as my background and everything checks out, which it should. I was honest and upfront about all my past experiences and all the things that I told them I think would actually make me better suited for the job. But I feel like it's going to be really similar to what I was doing in counseling at the treatment centers, except for maybe now I'm in a position to actually help somebody stay out of jail or out of prison or guide them in a different direction. And I can do that working in treatment, but I don't actually have any role in what they do or don't do as far as the legal side. I think that could play a big role. I could play a big role in somebody's life by being who I am, being the compassionate, understanding person with the counseling background and understanding why people think the way they do, whatever. Sometimes, I think that would be a big help, that I could push people in the right directions. So I'm kind of excited about it. Another week or two, hopefully my background check will be done. But that's change. That's big change for me. It's scary. That's really scary for me because I don't know how that's going to go. I've never done it before. I know I'm going to miss doing groups. Fortunately, I'm doing my second internship right now for my master's degree. So I'll still get to work at the treatment center where I'm doing that at, and I'll be able to still be involved. But there's a lot of change. I'm excited. Another one of the other big changes that I'm working on right now is getting back to the gym every day. It's been almost a year since I've went regularly, and I've definitely put on a few pounds and went more round than muscular for sure. So that's something that I'm really going to try and focus on. I want to start eating better again, work on that aspect. It's something that I got away from. I started eating lots of candy again. COVID hit, the gym closed down, whatever. I kind of got out of that habit. I got to get my ass back up and going in the mornings and start doing this again. Plus my heart issues and stuff I got. I think going to the gym would help with some of that. Losing a little bit of weight would help with that. But getting back on a good program. There's a program I'm looking at joining, a guy online that kind of is a fitness coach and does the whole thing with meals, and I'll get more into that on a different one once I actually start that. But change. This is the season of change. Fall is here. The leaves are falling. They're changing color. I think it's time that I focus on change too. So I am definitely going to try and put as much effort as I can into changing the way that I interact with my family. Try and communicate a little better, communicate more, give them more time. I've been spending a lot of time, watching YouTube videos, doing my homework at school, all this other stuff that I could focus a little more time on my family specifically and hopefully improve some of those relationships. They're good, but they could be better. I'm going to work on making a commitment to get back into the gym at least 4 or 5 times a week, if not every day. I might not do it like I did before, but I want to get on a plan and start following it and work. That's a big change coming up. Hopefully before Halloween, I'll be doing the probation thing and see how that goes. It's still a little bit nervous about doing that. But I filled out the application, went and did the interviews, and then I got let go from my job. Then I got offered this job. So the only thing I can presume that is me needing a little push in a different direction, and that was God's way of doing it. I do believe everything happens for a reason, so no matter what, I don't feel like I'm in a bad situation. I'm just uncomfortable, but I know that there's a reason for this. Personal growth, positive change, going a different direction, the direction maybe I'm supposed to go. Without all the experiences that I have in life, I wouldn't be as effective as I am as a counselor. Without the pain, the memories that I wish I didn't have, but I do. I believe that God put me in this position, let me experience all that stuff because I could handle it. And I'm not a felon. I didn't get a felony out of any of the stuff that I did. I got fortunate. And I don't think I was lucky. I think it was intentional. And now I get to put some of that to use. Because if I was a felon, I wouldn't be able to go do the probation thing. I wouldn't be able to do a lot of the things that I do. So I'm excited to be able to put that to use and use that to maybe empower some other people to change. Going from the person I used to be to the person I am was a big deal. My pastor at church played a big role in that, as far as showing me that I don't have to know somebody to love them, and I don't have to know somebody, know what they're doing, know where they're at their emotional state is, any of that stuff, to know that they're good people. I have faith that they're good people. Everybody I come in contact with, I just assume they're good people because they probably are. But that also means that I'm a good person too, and that gives me something to keep fighting for. I need that good person in me to keep coming out. I've made a lot of positive growth. I'm able to love everybody I meet now, but I need to keep going. I need to keep growing in a positive direction for my family. They need me. They need me as an example, and they need me to be there. So that's the big changes that I've got going on right now. And I'll be probably starting to make some videos more again now. I'm going to try and get some people to maybe give me some subjects that they would like me to talk about or give my outlook on, my perspective, or any experience that I have. And no questions are off the table. Anything goes. So I love you guys. Have a great day.